In one of the city's poorest neighborhoods, where cracked walls leaned over narrow alleys, lived an 18-year-old boy named Karim. Despite his young age, life had forced him to carry burdens far heavier than his years. His father was an old, sick man, bedridden and too weak to work. His mother, a simple and kind woman, struggled to support the family as best as she could, but her strength was never enough against the weight of poverty. Kareem's heart was torn between two worlds. The dream of becoming a doctor one day, saving lives with his knowledge, and the harsh reality that tied him to a small cafe where he worked long hours just to help feed his family. His clothes were worn, his books secondhand, but his eyes shone with a determination that nothing could dim. Every morning, Kareem woke up early. He helped his sick father take his medicine, kissed his mother's forehead, and then hurried to the cafe. There, amid the smell of mint tea and the tired voices of workers and travelers, he carried trays, cleaned tables, and greeted everyone with a quiet smile. Even as his body grew weary, like a tea night, he returned to his tiny room. Under the weak glow of a flickering lamp, he opened his old books and studied with passion. Sleep tempted him, exhaustion pressed on him, but Kareem refused to let go of his dream. Deep inside, he believed that education was the only key that could open a new path, one that might free him from poverty and give him the chance to heal people like his father. What Kareem didn't know, however, was that his destiny was about to change. And it would all begin with a simple cup of tea he would one day serve with his own hands. That it was an ordinary afternoon at the cafe. The sun filtered through the dusty windows, casting golden rays across the small wooden tables. Kareem moved quickly from one corner to another, balancing trays of steaming tea and wiping down surfaces with practiced ease. That day, however, a new face appeared. An old gentleman, dressed in a neat but slightly faded suit, entered quietly. His hair was gray, his steps slow but dignified. He seemed out of place among the regular customers, workers, drivers, and tired travelers. The man chose a corner table and sat down, resting his cane by his side. His eyes, though weary, were gentle, scanning the room with a kind of nostalgic sadness. Kareem, curious but polite, approached him with a smile. "Good afternoon, sir," Kareem said softly. "Would you like some tea?" The man nodded. "Yes, young man. A cup of tea, please. With mint, if you have it." Kareem hurried to prepare the drink. He placed the steaming cup carefully before the man, who looked at it for a long moment before lifting it to his lips. As he sipped, his eyes fell on Kareem again, studying him quietly, as if trying to read his story in the lines of his face. "You work hard for someone so young," the man finally said, his voice calm but deep. "Tell me, do you go to school as well?" Kareem hesitated. He didn't usually share his life with strangers, but there was something comforting about this man's presence. He nodded. "Yes, sir. I study at night, after work. I want to be a doctor someday." The man's lips curved into a faint smile. He didn't reply immediately, but something flickered in his eyes. Admiration, perhaps, or maybe recognition of a struggle he once knew himself. That evening, when the old man left the cafe, he slipped a coin onto the table, more than the price of the tea. Kareem tried to call after him, but the man raised his hand gently and disappeared into the crowded street. Kareem stood there for a moment, holding the empty cup in his hand, unaware that this simple encounter was the beginning of a bond that would change his life forever. In the following days, the old man occasionally visited the cafe, but he never revealed his true intentions. He watched Kareem from a distance, sometimes smiling at him gently, sometimes leaving extra coins on tables, without Kareem ever understanding the reason for this quiet generosity. Gradually, Kareem's life began to change in subtle ways. He started receiving unexpected notifications from his school, new books, tuition fees covered, and occasionally small grants to help with daily expenses. He never knew who was behind this mysterious support, but his heart filled with a quiet gratitude, and his determination to study grew stronger than ever. Years passed, and Kareem never stopped striving. He graduated from high school with top honors and entered medical school, benefiting from continued financial support, still unaware of the person who had made it all possible. Every achievement brought him a strange, comforting feeling, as if someone was watching over him with care and pride. One day, in the middle of his university years, Karim received devastating news. The old man who had first appeared at the cafe had passed away quietly in his home. Karim felt a deep sorrow, even though he had never known him personally like a friend. That a few days later, a small, carefully wrapped envelope arrived for Karim. Inside was a card, written in the old man's familiar, steady hand. Dear Karim, from the first moment I saw you in the cafe, I knew you had a rare spirit and an unbreakable will. I have been guiding and supporting you quietly, so that you could reach your dreams without knowing who helped you. Every book, every lesson, every grant was meant to help you become the doctor I knew you could be. Now, the world needs you, and you are ready. Never forget, true success is giving back to others, just as you were once helped without knowing it. Karim was deeply moved. He could hardly believe that all those years of support, the books, the lessons, the tuition, had been the work of this kind man. Tears welled in his eyes, but he also felt a surge of renewed purpose. From that day on, Karim vowed to become a doctor not only to save lives, but also to honor the generosity and love he had received. After graduating, Karim established a small foundation to support underprivileged students, providing books and paying tuition, just as the old man had done for him. In this way, the old man's kindness did not die. It lived on through every life Karim touched, continuing the cycle of generosity and hope.